Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cemetery Saturday. It is your ghost hostesses here, Sunshine and Courtney, and we are at the Sperry Cemetery in Bethany, Connecticut, just off of Route 69, the site of many supernatural legends, lore, and hauntings, everything from puckwudgies to UFOs to strange devil monsters that live in the woods. But perhaps one of the creepiest things of all is the fact that we are near the site of an axe murder and several other related murders. And we are here at the grave of one Ichabod Umberfield, who has aptly engraved on his tombstone that he was murdered by a maniac. What the heck happened to Ichabod? Who was the maniac? Right?
Poor Ichabod.
Yes. And was he the only murderer? Oh, no. There's many that are connected to this story. But to really understand what happened to Ichabod and others at the beginning of a new year, as we're transitioning around 1856, 1857, we have to go back to Christmas. And we have to go back to a religious sect called the Wakemanites and their leader, Rhoda. So, Sunshine, do you want to tell us a bit about who the Wakemanites are and
oh my goodness,
how they're going to bring us here?
Yes. So the Wakemanites started with a woman whose name is Rhoda Wakeman. And she was married to a very abusive husband. And apparently one night she said that he killed her. And she thought that he had the devil in him. She died for 7 hours, she said, and came back. But before she came back, she was touched by the angels with silver swords, and she was given a mission here on earth to defeat the Antichrist. This was her own mind. Now, was she truly going to battle the Antichrist? She tried in her own way. She started her own religion, basically, called the Wakemanites. She had only about a dozen followers. However, her influence over them was said to be almost hypnotic, that they could not defy her or ask questions, or sometimes they would get killed themselves and be told that they had the devil in them. So her entire existence after her husband hurt her so badly was to stay alive in order to defeat the Antichrist. And it was believed by her that she could end the world at any time she chose. And she told her followers this.
Right.
And she moved in with a gentleman who was a little bit simple, as they say. And she began to have a reputation as a healer for all of her otherworldly experiences that she'd had, but indeed she was not really very nice at all, and a lot of times accused people who had ailments that they were being consumed by the devil. So if you had a stomach cramp, that might be the devil.
And that's the funny thing about Rhoda, right? So she's here to help, in her point of view, save people from the devil and to save them from witchcraft. But yet here she is kind of spouting these stories about how she's been at heaven's gates and she's seen Jesus and she can create healing things, which others would see to her as the witch. But no, she's pointing the finger at everyone else.
Right. And so what happened then is that Charles Sanford turned out to be the nephew of someone that was murdered during an exorcism.
Right.
And his sister had been there too.
So Charles Sanford's going to become incredibly important in this story. So Rhoda's running this church and she has, what can be considered meetings, sermons, whatever you want to call these services. But they would go on for hours and hours and hours. And it was recorded that it was on Christmas Eve one evening or one year in the mid-1800s, 1856, that she's having this, service. And everyone's been singing, these tunes from, 9 p.m. going on till midnight. But during these hours on Christmas Eve, something else bizarre is happening. So there's a young man named Justice Matthews, and he was one of Rhoda's followers. Well, Justice Matthews was not attending a few services. He was brought in by the rest of the followers to the church that night. They believed, and Rhoda believed, that the devil had found a way to inhabit him, and they needed to perform an exorcism of sorts to rid Justice Matthews of this demonic inhabitant. So they bring him downstairs to the basement area while the service is continuing upstairs until well past 2 a.m. Now, they have him downstairs bound to a chair, making sure, of course, that, that he can't let the devil run loose throughout the sermon or throughout the church establishment, if you want to call it back. So they have him.
Because, Courtney, Rhoda believed that this demon could jump from person to person.
Right.
And you could tell by the cramps.
So you have to have him bound.
Yes,
so
he must be bound.
He's bound to his chair, and they said that they were bringing him food and occasionally going down to this area to perform rituals. But there's a young woman named Polly Sanford. She's one of the followers, and she wants to make sure that he cannot possess anyone by looking at them. This is another big way that the devil could, of course, possess someone else from him, or he could charm them through his eyes. So Polly Sanford blindfolds Justice Matthews while he's bound to the chair. But as hours pass and the service goes on, no one was reporting what was going on their trips downstairs to Justice Matthews. But suddenly it is found when they go downstairs as a collective group that Justice Matthews has been brutally murdered. Now, what they found was him, of course, on the floor with his head almost completely decapitated, slit from one side of his throat to the other with this very bloody marked wound, that he had bludgeon marks to what remained from his head, and that his abdomen had all these tiny sort of stabbing marks inside him. Now, of course, the first thing that some of the folks do is say, well, he killed himself. He wanted to sacrifice himself for Rhoda because he thought if he let the devil continue to live inside him, then, of course, Rhoda would die, and that he was willing to die for her.
Because otherwise it would bring on the end of the world.
Right, the end of the world. So he's willing to do this for everyone else. A great sacrifice is how they present this. But soon this becomes investigated. And when these folks are starting to be brought to court, several of the members of the Wakemanites, including Rhoda, confess that they were the ones that murdered Justice Matthews. And they begin to describe how they hit him over the head with several instruments to knock him out, but he was still conscious when they took a 2-inch blade of a pocket knife and slit his throat. And then they mutilated his corpse with an actual kitchen fork.
Right.
And so they, describe in great detail what they had done to Justice Matthews in this exorcism
Not very
process.
Christian, is it? Not at all.
But they're Wakemanites. They march to the beat of their own drum. Well, of course, this is the talk of the town, and we haven't even brought you to Ichabod yet, right? So Justice Matthews, terrible murder by exorcism at the Wakemanite service, and Polly Sanford, the one who blindfolded this man, turned out to be the niece of Justice Matthews.
Right.
This was her uncle, and she had a brother named Charles Sanford. Now, Charles hadn't gone to those services in a little bit. He was 27 years old, and he was a peculiar man, but he did kind of do carpentry and different things by trade, working with wood. And although he was awkward and a little off, he, seemed to be all right, and no one said that he took the news of his uncle's death too horribly. He also practiced this Wakemanite worship when he was in what he believed to be his right mindset. But then it starts to become known that he's quite distraught about the death of his uncle, and then he becomes nervous. That devil could have jumped inside him.
Yes.
How does he know? He's getting stomach cramps, right?
Terrible
so he has to go
stomach
make
cramps.
sure that anyone who's potentially bewitched and it could be sending the devil to him, is stopped in their tracks. So he endeavors off, and he does this about a week later, around the New Year's, out into the snowy woods of Connecticut, and there he encounters, riding a sleigh drawn by horses, a gentleman, an elderly man named Enoch Sperry. Enoch was actually the father of the Secretary of State of Connecticut. So he was a pretty prominent, well-to-do man in the region. But Charles Sanford went right up to Enoch Sperry with his axe and took the butt end of the axe and hit him over the head and kind of smashed it into him as he dragged him off his sleigh. At this point, he also began to hit him with the blade of the axe.
Yes.
Once on the head, hearing a crack, once behind the ear, and then dragging the axe under his chin, again, similarly to how his uncle was beheaded,
Right.
again, severing, Enoch Sperry's head. But he's not done. He
yet.
still is worried that there are other people that could be giving him these stomach cramps, and he has to find them. And it's almost fated for him who he comes across. But then he comes across a house of a farmer who was minding his own business, an elderly man, Ichabod Umberfield. And when this young man, Charles Sanford, arrives at Ichabod's house, he's kind of already covered in blood.
Yes.
He has a bloody axe. Everyone knows that something bad is going on when he arrives at the door. Now, Ichabod had his wife and child at home. He also had a maid or servant who
Yes.
worked at the house and someone that was assisting her. And they all saw him at the door, and the wife and child locked themselves upstairs in a bedroom. He kind of summoned them away, ushering them towards safety. And the two servants and maids, he kind of, pushed to the side. They were getting worried. And then Charles Sanford, the man at the front door, looks at them and says, if you don't go away, I'll chop your heads off.
Yes.
So they sort of go to hide, knowing that something's wrong. But Ichabod, he is a Christian man. He feels that if he can sit and talk with Charles, find out what's been going on, he can get him into a calmer
Yes.
space of mind and out of this sort of delusion he's walking through. So Ichabod and Charles sit by the fire in Ichabod's home. And it is the winter, so it's, I imagine this very lovely setup, and Ichabod trying to be very calm in his speaking with Charles. And supposedly the servants can hear the conversation.
Yes.
It seems to be going normally. And then all of a sudden, Charles gets up from his chair, wields his axe, and chops off Ichabod's head. Now, this sends the girls out in a scurry. He runs out the door. So the girls locked the door after Charles exited, ensuring that he could not come back into the house. And now, of course, the authorities have been alerted to this. They've followed a trail of blood from one murder site to the other, and they find this crazed man saying that he still wanted to come for the rest of Ichabod's
Yes.
family, that
Yes.
he's not done.
He said, I'm not finished.
Yeah, he's not finished. He's still got stomach cramps. He must not have killed the right people. But let's talk about Charles. What happens? What does he say are all of the reasons that bring him here? Is it his uncle? Is it his stomach? What background do you have on Charles Sunshine?
So Charles was somebody who was born with, first of all, a club foot. So he was already a little different than everybody and probably got made fun of by people, because at that time, if you had an ailment in your body or you were born disfigured, you were sort of already on the outs, like maybe you could be part of the Devil's League.
Right.
You might need helping. And this gentleman, Charles Sanford, was in and out of mental institutions his entire life.
Right.
When he was actually a follower of the Wakemanites, he just wasn't there that night when what happened to Justice
Right.
happened that night. And Polly was his sister.
Right.
So he was not there that night, but believed in the Wakemanite theory. So when he has these stomach cramps, he feels that he must get the devil out.
Right.
And so he's looking for who it is in which the devil lives. And I believe at a certain point, he must have really just completely snapped and became a homicidal, axe-murdering
Homicidal
maniac.
Yes.
And did not really know all that he was doing. However, when the police did ask him questioned him, he said, I would do it again, and I'm not finished.
And
So,
they did declare
yeah.
him insane.
Yes.
They did declare him, you know, sort of criminally insane. There is, of course, the question why he was allowed out in the first place. People said they saw Charles leaving the house that morning carrying an axe, kind of hobbling, but no one thought anything was, you know, any different than any other day for him.
Well, because he also was a woodcutter.
Right.
So to carry an axe wouldn't be... But one thing that sticks out in my mind, Courtney, is that he had also a pointed, sharpened stick with him as well, that he may have used to hit or was planning to run through the heart of the devil.
And to be clear, you know, we're telling you about Charles, but we're here at the grave of Ichabod, and we also mentioned to you Enoch Sperry, and this is the Sperry family cemetery where many of Enoch's relatives are buried. These two folks, these two gentlemen, were going about their own business. They had nothing to do with the Wakemanites. They were, you know, living their lives, working, celebrating the holidays with their family. They would have no idea, you know, why this happened. So to engrave on someone's stone "murdered by a maniac" really shows you exactly how they're viewed by the town. Now, they do agree that Charles Sanford is insane. Everything that we've read, although documents differ, the Connecticut Historical Society has the original court documents, did find that they were going to declare guilty many of the Wakemanites for the murder of Justice Matthews.
Yes.
And I believe a lot of what happened with Charles Sanford also influenced those findings, because they really saw that as all connected. Even though they might not take ownership, it was connected. So the Wakemanites are a short-lived religious cult, of a sense, that comes in the New Haven area of Connecticut, but brings with it all of these murders. Now, what's really, really wild to me on the supernatural side of this, because we here at Seaside Shadows like to do both, what's really wild is this murder takes place near Lake Watrous, which is just a little bit further down the road from where we stand. And Lake Watrous, everyone says it's by the site of the infamous axe murders.
Oh boy.
That all of this supernatural occurrences happen. Now, some say some of it dates to the 1600s. Could that have driven Charles mad?
Partly.
Could that have influenced why the Wakemanites even settled here? And then is the ghost story of all of this, are these unsettled spirits causing even more paranormal to be centered here? Because now the stories are growing. So we thought it would be a great idea, while we are out here in Bethany, Woodbridge area, to do a little bit paranormal investigations with these folks. Of course, we want to encourage you to send your spiritual well wishes to the soul of Ichabod Umberfield, who is buried right next to his wife, who died a few years after him, and of course that of Enoch Sperry and Justice Matthews, all who met an untimely demise unexpectedly due to this craze that was happening in the area. And while you guys take a moment to do that, we will get prepped and we will be back shortly to start a paranormal investigation. Welcome back to Cemetery Saturday, and we are at the Sperry Cemetery in Bethany, Connecticut, and we just gave you a little chat about Ichabod Umberfield and his story about being murdered by a maniac. We also talked about a neighbor of his, Enoch Sperry, who was also murdered by this individual, Charles Sanford. We did want to update you that we did find out that Charles Sanford, though many of his family members are buried with the Sperrys and the Umberfields, with which he had such a terrible impact, is buried in an unknown location. Even though he was deemed to be insane for his murder of Ichabod and Enoch, he's sentenced to execution by hanging. However, he became quite ill with smallpox and died of smallpox before his execution date. So perhaps the spirits had something to do with that on the other side. Who knows? They didn't want him lingering about. But we do not know where Charles is buried. And it was really, even though Ichabod is who we're with, it was sadly not his family that could afford the trial at all. It was the family of Enoch Sperry, because he had so much money that held Charles Sanford accountable. However, we have lots of questions, of course, for Ichabod and about his conversation with Charles that day in his home. We have questions about where Charles is buried. And so we thought we'd do a little investigation with our SB7 spirit box and EMF detector to see if they're willing to answer any of our questions. So I'm just going to get everything turned on and ready to go. All right. So Sunshine, do you have a question for Ichabod?
Friend. Ichabod, are you here with us today?
Maybe.
I think he actually said Courtney.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Could you perhaps tell us what happened on New Year's Day of 1856? Did he say murdered?
And Enoch. And Enoch.
Who came to your home? Who was at home with you on New Year's Day? Maid? Your maid?
And his wife just spoke. Which one is she?
She's
The
over
wife just spoke.
over here. What did you say to Charles Sanford when he came to your home? You're here, or
I thought he said, don't hurt me?
don't hurt me? Who else is with you? Did he say Rebecca?
I thought he said Rebecca. Because she keeps talking.
Is the rest of your family here? Could be.
My name is Sunshine. Sorry. This is Courtney. And we came to visit you to tell the story of what happened to you that day. That's why we're here. Do you have anything that you want to add to our story?
Afraid.
It's okay.
Sure.
Sure. I'll
Sure.
tell it. Sure, tell it. Did you hear that?
Sure. Did you know the Wakemanites? Who were they following? The neighbors. Did you live close to them? Yes. We heard they were all a bit mad. Is that true? Is that true? Yes, it's true. It's true. Axe? Who said axe? That was a different person. Who said axe?
Is Charles here?
Who said axe? If you were bold enough to wield it, be bold enough to say it. Who said axe? All right.
Look at me. I'm
Mr. Umberfield and Mrs. Umberfield, we want to thank you for your time talking with us today. We want to make sure that everyone is held accountable for what happened, so we're going to make our way down to the wood line to see if someone who was responsible for your untimely demise is present, but we hope that you rest in peace.
Thank you.
So we're heading to the wood line. In between takes, we were trying to discern where Charles could be buried. And Sunshine, using her dowsing rods and just using some intuition, we really got the sense that he was toward the back. So we're going to go see if there's anything as far as paranormal evidence that we can record back here.
Are you here, Charles Sanford?
You can also touch these lights if you are here.
I'm
They,
Sanford.
I thought I heard insane. Why did you murder those two men? My gut. My gut. Can you say anyone's name? Polly? Is Polly with you? Was Polly a witch?
Clearly.
I have a very big question for you, Charles. Do you feel regret for what you did to those two men?
No.
No. What's in the woods? Other than you? What was that? Devils? All right, Mr. Sanford, we are going to resume chatting a little further into the woods. We hope that you are able to atone for what's happened. Is there anything else you need to say? Sorry.
Are you relieved that you died of smallpox instead of being hung by the neck till dead?
Stop. He told you to stop. Well, that was part 1 of our investigation. We are going to continue, and we'll see you again in a little bit.
I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit scared of Charles.
Yes.
I am. He's definitely was touching my leg, up my leg, talking.
Well, we'll see if he follows us up near Lake Watrous.
You better not.
All right. Bye, guys. See about this other rock that...
Anything on that?
No, it's just a stone.
But I don't think they would give him a grave.
Tell us if anyone grabs you.
I mean, if there was somebody buried here.
There is somebody buried here. It's Charles Sanford.
Yeah.
He is in an unmarked grave.
Yep.
Here.
Jason, what did you say that they wouldn't disclose?
Yeah.
Nope.
Buried in an undisclosed location.
In Bethany?
After he was put to death.
He was put to death. By hanging?
That could explain this tight choker feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm wearing a choker.
I saw hanging somewhere, but I wasn't sure who it was. We are at the site of some pretty freaky things. You probably noticed that Sunshine and I are already looking a little bit spooked. We're looking a little bit spooked because, like we mentioned, this is sort of a vortex of paranormal activity, and there's already some movement going on, some strange anomalies.
And we are on Downs Road where the axe murderer did his thing.
Yeah, so we're on Downs Road where the axe murder was committed by Charles Sanford against Enoch Sperry, and of course our good friend
Ichabod.
Yes, who never wants me to say his name.
No.
Ichabod Umberfield.
Umberfield.
But in addition to that, this is the location we mentioned where there's a lot of other paranormal things. And one of the ones that we are, here for, we're here for variety, but one of the ones we're here for is a creature called the Pukwudgies.
Yes.
And we were just doing some reading about the Pukwudgies, getting, more filled in on these little creatures. And a lot of their legends do date to the Algonquin tribe, and they used to be a friendly, somewhat humanoid type creature, anywhere from 2 to 4 foot tall, a little bit hairy, and actually the best description of them, if you're a Harry Potter fan, in Fantastic Beasts, the American school kind of uses their image as their logo and sort of their brand. But what happened was, though they were friends with Native Americans across the East Coast, they were sort of sacrificed to a giant who slaughtered all of them. And though this may seem like something that the Native Americans thought they had to do, it was basically just one person's call. And then it made the Pukwudgies non-friendly. And as such, they started to come after humans with everything from poison arrows to swords, stealing their lives, taking them into the woods. They're able to masquerade as any other animal.
Right. Like a wolf or a bear.
A cougar, which has even been sighted in this area. And we even had a coyote run in front of us on our way here. So they can masquerade as anything to sort of, attract you to them or to appear normal. And one of the biggest spots for Pukwudgies to appear is here on Downs Road. In addition to that happening on Downs Road, I want to go back to the axe murder. Pukwudgies are seen here in this region, but where else did we find out that they were seen frequently?
By Lizzie Borden's house.
Yes, in
Fall River.
By another axe murder, thus making us think there's somehow this connection between these spiritual beings, if you want to call them that, and the axe murders.
Paranormal
And
beings.
they are also seen where other creatures are seen, supposedly in these woods by Lake Watrous. There are seen monsters that almost sound like fisher cats, but not quite, but are bigger.
So they're Bigfoots?
Yeah, there's Bigfoots that are seen through here, and Pukwudgies are often seen where Bigfoots are seen. And perhaps most alarmingly, but fitting for the upcoming news, as you know, some American government files are being released about aliens and UFOs soon. And this site has been the location of about 20 UFO sightings in the last 10 years.
Wow.
Yes, and people say they see them coming over the reservoir lake area here, kind of forming these shapes in the sky and then taking off quickly down towards Hamden, Connecticut.
Of course.
Yes,
of course that's where they would go.
That's the direction they're heading. Where they go after that, I do not know. So we, Sunshine, are with the ghosts potentially of axe murderers and their victims. the Puckwudgies,
2,
a potential devil monster,
3,
Bigfoot,
4,
and aliens.
5.
Right?
Yes.
So we are here at night. I'm very proud of us.
Me
Are
too.
you very proud of
I'm
us?
excited,
very proud of us.
actually. I want to see one of these things now. We took the effort. We made the time.
Yes.
And we're here after dark. And it's creepy out here.
We did scream a little when we got here.
Yes.
So don't be surprised if more happens.
We will be screaming a lot. I mean, we saw something cross the road. We saw something running already down there.
Yes.
So I think this is a hotbed of paranormal activity.
Yes.
Probably has a vortex involved. And that might have been what made Charles Sanford go mostly insane.
Right, almost like Lizzie Borden.
Right.
So we are going to conduct an investigation, which will be a little bit non-traditional because this is a non-traditional spot.
It's for cryptids.
So we have our EMF detector, which has already been blinking. You guys may have already seen that on the camera quite a bit, picking up electromagnetic energy that supernatural beings can emit. And I even hate having my back to back here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say
I'm sideways. I'm sideways.
I feel like I have to keep checking behind me.
Especially because my husband scared me with a stick on my skirt
Yes,
already.
and we did see a figure running down by the water.
Which definitely was not
and these
a person.
are not people. People are not allowed to go that close to the water. This
We're not
area
even going there.
Yeah, no, this area is very well protected. We're going to bring you as close as we can to protected areas tonight, but not in the areas that we're not allowed to be, and where we saw the figure, no one's allowed to be.
Damn it.
And there's no evidence that another living soul is near us right now.
Right, it's pretty quiet.
We also are filming this on the week of the full moon, the lunar eclipse, all sorts of astrological events happening, which only amplifies the supernatural. So we are going to use our EMF detector. We're going to keep that out. We're also going to put out a REM pod occasionally.
It's just Jason.
Sunshine's husband, if you do see another human in the distance. We do have our spirit box, which we will use a little bit. And then we also have a thermal camera, which we think will be really good for letting us sort of see anything, that's oddly shaped or peculiar.
Anything that has a heat signature or a negative heat signature, we'll see it. We'll be able to tell the difference between a deer and a rabbit and a puckwudgie.
And if we go missing, we are on Downs Road.
Downs Road.
In Woodbridge, Connecticut, right at the top of the road.
Yes.
So, it's very scary. So, Sunshine, what would you like to start with investigation-wise?
I feel like we're a little too far from the water to see a lot of things.
Was that a firefly?
I think that was a firefly, but it's a little early. It's fireflies already. Wonderful. Or actually sometimes fairies kind of show up that way. But that's only one firefly so far. It's coming closer to us.
Yes, yes.
It could be a puckwudgie disguised as a lightning bug.
Oh, yes. The puckwudgies can be anything they want to be.
Yes.
I've seen a couple.
A couple fireflies, Jason says he's seen.
So can't be that. I think maybe the spirit box to see
Okay, I'm going to have
if
you hold this while I
anything
get the
wants to
spirit
talk to
box
us, and maybe it
on.
speaks in an alien language.
Yeah, so we're going to listen for sounds
and then we're going to go on a trail,
yes. Oh, I'm scared.
a very spooky trail in the middle of this forest.
Are there any people or other beings present with us tonight? My name's Courtney. This is Sunshine.
Hi.
We're with Marty and Jason, and we've come here to see if anyone is present that would like to speak with us. You can make any sort of sound to let us know of your presence as well.
A little bit.
There's a little bit of a sound. It sounded like a male voice. Is there a person here?
You.
You. What did you hear?
I don't know. It sounded like zippity doodah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
There was a cracking sound
Yeah.
down there. So
Yeah. It could be an animal though, for real. But so when I want to
hear it again.
No,
No.
there was something outside of us, behind us.
Sorry guys, we got a little spooked, but we'll
Yeah.
let you watch on the camera while we back up.
We humbly invoke and ask to be protected from any alien beings that might like to show themselves playing on the water or in the forest.
I'm also starting to see a figure on top of one of the rocks.
I see it too, forming.
Starting to come up. It was up for a second.
It's like popping
It's popping
its head
up and down,
going
popping up and down.
up. Do you see it now?
You guys
Up,
see it?
Down.
Yeah,
Do you
up,
see
down, on the rock.
Whoa, I had a really weird thing with my eyes just happen. That's definitely
Do you guys see that popping up and down?
paranormal.
I can't see that far.
Can you see it, Jay? Do you see that thing? Right, it looks like a seal.
It's like, just looks like a little
a seal?
figure almost up and down, poking its head
Doing
up
it
and
again
down.
now really fast.
Went down,
Now it's down,
I don't have enough.
up.
up, down.
What do we think that is, Sunshine?
Perhaps, I mean, we asked for aliens and puckwudgies, so it could be either. I would say it's,
moving closer.
it should be.
Yes.
Yeah, it is moving closer through the grass. It could be either. If we start to see the grass move, if it has light inside of it, that's usually an alien. If it doesn't have a lot of light in it, that's probably our puckwudgie.
It's getting bigger.
You're building an energy and you want to come closer?
Yep.
Did you see something else there on the left appeared for a moment? It looked like maybe 3 beings together on the left.
I didn't. I was focused on the one.
Okay.
I heard something. If anyone would like to speak, you can do so with this device.
Oh, it's a flashing at you. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
there's a man said yes.
I'm feeling my heart rate pick up quite a bit, Courtney. What about you?
Yeah, I've stopped talking.
That is rare, right?
Yes, it is.
It's
You
rare
guys
for me
all
to
know
stop
this.
talking too.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this off because I know it's loud.
No, they like it, I think.
They like it?
I thought I just heard, is there anything to eat?
Not us. I know you guys can still hear us because we're mic'd. We are just a little spooked.
We've seen and heard a lot of things already.
So I'm going to say for everyone that can hear me, I feel as if there's no correct direction to stand. Like
Yes.
whatever way I'm facing, something's behind me, like messing with me. All right, Seaside Shadows, folks. We're getting a little bit spooked, but hopefully you guys have enjoyed our little investigation here at the top of Downs Road. We are going to continue our investigation a little bit further toward a wooded area, so we'll be back with you shortly. Welcome back, Seaside Shadows followers. It is Courtney and Sunshine.
Hello.
We have taken a little turn off Downs Road onto a trail that it is believed is a forest area resident to puckwudgies, UFOs, and the like. So we are going to walk through the trail a bit with you and see what's going on.
See if we can find a puckwudgie. You know, a lot of people don't really believe in puckwudgies. Can you believe that?
I do. I'm scared. There's some sounds on the trees back here, Sunshine.
Moving around.
Oh, another good way to get them to show up is to whistle a little bit like.
All right, Sunshine, we have the spirit box on.
We have this going.
Is there anyone in the woods with us right now? Who's here? What's your name? Do you have a name? Is there a child here? There's a little boy speaking. What's your name?
Hello. What happened to you?
Ask again.
What happened to you? What do you need?
A boulder? Are you cold?
There's a boulder over here. It's down the trail.
Is that where we should go?
Courtney's going for anywhere that's closer to the car, FYI.
Listen, if the ghosts say to go somewhere, who am I to deny them?
Courtney?
Is this the boulder you wanted us to go near?
Something's in the woods here.
Get back, it said.
It's over here, something not good.
Okay.
Get back where?
Are we too close? All right, we're going to turn this off so that we can hear you better.
Okay, I might be clairvoyantly hearing noises, but I hear this noise. It sounds like this. Wheat, wheat. Do you hear it again? I just heard it again.
I did too, on the audio.
Okay. There it is, Marty. Do you hear the whistling noise? It's like they're imitating the whistling a little bit.
All right, Seaside Shadows friends, we want you to listen. Marty will keep the camera on the woods for a few moments and make sure to sound off what you hear in the comments.
That's the moon up there. If you see that light.
There's one right there.
You have to touch
Right
us
there,
going off.
right there. Some creature, I don't know what it is, but I feel it, and I see it like etherically. Yeah, Jason doesn't, whoa, whoa, whoa.
What?
It just lit up to red. Do you want to touch somebody?
Not me, though, please. I'm scared. Sorry, it's not your fault.
I'm sorry we got so excited that we might have frightened you away. Come back. We're not usually this excitable. But as you can imagine,
I'm highly anxious.
it would be very exciting if we could just make touch with you.
Fireflies over here, we just one again.
Please show us some lights. Shadow figure to my left. Something walking to my left. Directly to my left. Could be an animal, but it looked upright. Are you a shadow figure here?
This is the trail.
Which
The
trail?
Regicide Trail.
It is?
It's marked, it's the blue marked trail.
And what was the Regicide Trail again?
So the Regicide Trail was formed, named after these two men who planned the death of King Charles over in England, and then they fled here in the 1600s and resided in a cave.
So the cave is probably at the end of this road.
At the other end of this trail. It's a pretty big trail, big hiking trail, but the blue trail is called the Regicide Trail, named after these two men.
I would want to go there in the daytime.
Yes, the cave might be a daytime visit. I am not as brave as I seem. Are there any spirits here that planned and plotted the death of King Charles? Can you repeat that? Charles. Oh, King Charles or the Charles from
Let's find out.
the cemetery?
Is this Charles from the cemetery?
King.
Okay.
Were you the
we got
gentleman
you.
that plotted his death? Were you the gentleman that plotted the death of King Charles? We have not come to get you in trouble. We are merely curious.
Take it easy.
You're safe here. What happened?
We won our independence from England because you helped us.
These colonies are now free. Did you commit regicide? I did. Is your cave far from here? Something dead.
I'm not dead.
You're not dead?
You're not dead?
Okay. Then where are you?
Come on back.
Do you know my name? How do you know me?
Did you bring money?
What did he say?
Did you bring money?
That was another deep voice too. Yeah. Deep voice.
Did you bring money?
Did you bring me money?
We did.
We did.
Where is
Oh.
it?
I'm all about treasure.
Can we have some treasure? Where is the treasure?
There's a sound coming from over here.
Where do you live? Here. That was plain as day. Did you hear that, Marty?
Tell me what you want.
We just want to hear your story.
We're going to turn this off for a minute so that you can make yourself known in other ways. Sometimes we do this because it gets to be quite loud for us.
Yeah. There's no noise. There's no nocturnal animals even around. It's completely silent here. Notice that? I see somebody walking on the road, Marty. I see a person walking on the road.
A living person?
A clairvoyant person. I mean, it could be. It looks as real to me like that. Turn the camera away again. Let me look.
Jay, can you shine a flashlight down there?
Somebody was walking quickly towards us, and it was like a tall human form and not a cryptid or anything. Like a ghost.
Yeah, there's something weird up there. If you keep going further, it gets really weird.
Let's
No,
go a
thank
little
you.
further.
Yeah.
Did you hear footsteps? Because I did behind you. Did you hear footsteps behind you?
That's why I asked.
Yeah.
Frickin' breath.
You can see his breath and it's not cold.
Really?
Yes.
I mean,
All right. We've
all-
got to close out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Seaside Shadows, for tuning in for this very terrifying but fascinating investigative process. I am going to be tuning out because I'm scared. Sunshine's very brave. She said she would keep walking. I said, nay, I will not.
I really, honestly, though, I get pulled in the direction that the ghosts want me to go, and then I don't hear anybody else. So the cave is 5 miles away. We're obviously not going to walk 5 miles in the dark tonight to the cave.
Can you imagine?
We will come back in the daytime, though, to do a paranormal investigation of that cave,
Yes.
because that's where the people who committed regicide
We're hiding out.
hid out. And
So
they
that
definitely
date will
wanna
be
talk.
to be determined, but please let us know if there's anything that you saw
That we didn't
in this footage or heard that we maybe didn't see here in person. We want to thank you so much for tuning in for this Cemetery Saturday, and we can't wait to see you for the next virtual segment. Have a good weekend, everybody.
That's a person. Did you see that?
Did you see that?
Holy shit. Do you think that's Charles?
Yes.
In front of the tree.
Yeah, that was another one.
It was very plain.
There was a light in the woods.
Yeah.
Hello, Seaside Shadows, and welcome back. We know that we left you just off the Downs Road in Bethany, Connecticut, but we wanted to let you all know that we did make it back. We were a little bit nerve-wracked when we were on our way back, but we're safe. Our animals are checking on us. Things are good. But we did want to let you know where we were for that last segment, or the last portion of the segment. So the area of Downs Road is an area that was partially cut off a couple hundred years ago, and around the time that the axe murders happened was around the road area that is a road now, but also where we were walking. So the footpath is a part of the Regicide Trail, but it is also a blocked off area and dirt road that was the Downs Road, and some of the foundations from the old homes do remain in the woods there. And there were, of course, rumors that families, such as perhaps ones related to the axe murder, were pushed to live out in the woods. And those rumors led, of course, to the fact that they could still be living in the woods, or their descendants could be. And that, of course, led to the rumors or legends that the Pukwudgies and and melonheads both could be in those woods on that trail. So when we were seeing shapes of people and things out there, it was, of course, alarming because is it a creature, a descendant of a living person? We weren't entirely sure. But that blocked off area that we were on is a part of the Downs Road. Another thing that was really common was something that you heard us saying about the lack of animals, right, Sunshine?
Right. There were no birds. There were no rabbits. There were no animals walking about in the woods. I did not get bit by one mosquito at all.
I got bit by just one.
I always get bit by mosquitoes. It was extremely quiet, and it was like a dead zone, basically, right? Just
yeah, it was.
quiet.
And, you know, there's only...
No crickets.
No, even crickets. And there was only one other area I can think of where that's reported, and that's Dudleytown, of course, where people have been driven mad as well. So, of course, that is a bit spooky, and that even adds more mystery to the fact that there were a few fireflies, I think. And we did see a couple figures that were definitely not animals.
Right.
And one bat came by.
One bat.
One bat.
I had, when we were on the road there, I had the experience of seeing a full figure of a man walking towards me, towards us. And it took me a second to find out if he was real or a ghost. And then I just wanted to go over and talk to him. And we did get some electric voice phenomenon.
Which
claiming-
you'll hear some of the highlights from in the video. But we just wanted to recap for you where we were, let you know that we're safe. And thank you again for joining us on this very exciting episode of Cemetery Saturday. Have a great weekend.